stacks. It's going to be interesting. In Bone 7, Respect Band Clockwork in response. And let me know when you're all good to go, Barry. I know you might have to live your mic in-game and start chatting whenever this stream is up and running. Lone Druid also ban out. Haven't seen him played at all in this tournament just yet, but wanting to eliminate the off-lane option. Empire is going to come out of this one with first pick with Darkseer still in the pool, and Empire needing a response to that troll pick for middle. Of note, too, OD still actually in the pool. And it looks like camera should then default to me. Really, really rough happenstance right now. Yeah, if you live your microphone, you'll hear everything, but you can keep the sound. You can just self-mute your own microphone. Microphone is a separate functionality on OBS. Not like it matters. Anyways, going into second half of this pick stage, Darkseer gets banned out. As it was mentioning, him still being available in the pool. We'll see exactly where Weaver ends up. For the most part, he has been always safe lane farmed in our Cup number 1 for Netolic Pro League. Winner of this engagement, if Empire manages to close out or Speed pulls off a comeback, Fnatic are awaiting the result of this match today. Finals to be played on Sunday. And that will be for a $1,000 bonus, taking Cup number 1, as well as 100 points towards a playoff bid out of our 5 cups. 5 weeks of play, a little bit extended on the first week simply because we didn't have an opportunity to actually cast in the middle of Star Ladder finals going on. LAN events in Kiev have concluded, though, with Na'Vi being your champions and Alliance taking second place, not able to repeat their title bid. Actually having wiped Na'Vi in the original bracket, sending them down to the LB and fighting their way back through. And Protector for Empire is going to be the response in second support. They need a mid and an off lane, unless they send Weaver safe lane and aggressive tri-lane with Bane. It should have the opportunity to do so, all depending on what Speed Gaming goes for the second half of this draft here.
Reserve time.
Speed Gaming could even potentially just pick up their second support right now, knowing that there's a whole lot they can synergize with the troll. Might see the carry prior to the last ban, not wanting to afford them that option. Empire still needs something of their own, and it's Rubik able to threaten a spell steal and actually taking Invoker away from the pool is Empire, and it's been a while since I've had the pleasure of casting him. Ever since they nerfed just his early game damage and then the items that he uses in conjunction with them, he's not able to deal as much as he once did. You have to go into Exort as a result. No more Quas Wex, Tornadoes into EMP charges. Like, there's no real mana drain, and therefore he's fallen out of being a favorite. So Force Staff not providing damage, just a lot of the things that he does aren't as effective unless you go deep into Exort. We'll see exactly what build they elect to go. He could provide a solid set of support, just buy Weaver time, or he could go man-moding with the Exort and see how much damage he can get off in a short span of time. A lot of these heroes should be caught a little bit flat-footed inside some Sunstrikes early on, and we'll keep an eye on that.
Okay, that only took forever to figure out and solve. I apologize, I had some external audio that would have caught on if I enabled my own mic that I had to get around to muting, fixing, and it's fixed. Either way, Team Empire picked an Invoker. My favorite mid. And I can't wait to see how much more he's played in 6.79, considering that you can invoke 2 spells straight from level 1 invoke anyways here. And I am so happy to be casting now with you ever. I was watching that first game and I was just jumping out of my seat, losing my mind, but glad we can get this solved. I've got the stream going. There is the little bit of delay, so don't panic, guys. It's there. Don't worry about it.
And this is why we keep you around, Barry. It looks like Proof still has yet to join onto the call. So Nature's Prophet gets picked up for Speed Gaming. Bone 7 presumably going to be taking that up. Sing mid. EE still needs his carry pick for Empire out. We should have just an off-lane pick remaining. And we'll see exactly how they would like to position that, if Mag will indeed go middle on that Invoker Gyrocopter taken away. Really solid damage element that he would have provided. Good amount of depth to the team. Increased attack speed with Troll's ultimate, which some consider to be ridiculous. And what I want to kind of entertain for just a moment is the fact that Nature's Prophet is renowned for single target right click damage, and if you could speed that up, could get out of control quickly. And actually they pick up a Razor, which may slot the Invoker elsewhere if they decide to run him in an off lane. It all depends on what they're feeling out and what Speed Gaming picks here.
It's just an interesting draft from Team Empire. You've got the Invoker, the Treant, and the Razor. 3 heroes that we see occasionally, and especially the Invoker, we hardly see any of that anymore, which, I mean, he's a farming mid, and that's really all he is, unfortunately. His ganking potential is really poor. His mid control capabilities are quite poor as well, especially against a lot of the populars like Bat Rider, although Bat has already been banned. Going to be interesting to see whether or not he's going to end up against the Troll Warlord. I think this 5th pick is going to have to decide that there, especially that our Nature's Prophet is probably going to be in the jungle. And yeah, it's going to be a Troll mid. Nature's Prophet in the offlane, potentially moving towards the jungle as well if his offlane gets lost. And Luna will be in a defensive tri-lane with Rubik and Visage. So, going to be an interesting matchup between Invoker and Troll Warlord. I think if Invoker decides to go with early Cold Snap and more 2 levels of Quas, I think he'll do just fine, and I think he'll be able to push Troll out of the lane just because of how strong Cold Snap is.
Definitely something to worry about. We'll see how Sing Sing plays. Plays a very tough Troll Warlord. We saw a lot of lucky bashes the last time around as we get underway in Game 2, guys. Empire up 1-0. Scores will be displayed on the screen once we get going, with Luna taking up that final carry slot. Not a very strong carry, but they will indeed have to safe lane farm with Nature's Prophet in the off. We'll see if they start him out there or in the jungle. Heroes finally getting picked up, and we'll get down to some introductions just for you guys watching. I apologize for Prue's power. Literally, she just texted me and she said, and my power goes out. Get Barry to stream quickly. So Barry is most definitely streaming this for you guys, so everything is good. And introductions are in order for Speed Gaming. Pile I Die on the Rubik, Bone 7 on Nature's Prophet, Sing Sing, Troll Warlord, with EE Sama on Luna, Owie 2000 Visage.
Oh, can't thank you enough for allowing me to do Empire. I try not to fangirl too hard. Anyways, Jackson, gonna be playing on the Weaver this game. We played a pretty strong lifesteal last game. Always Want to Fly, gonna be on our Bane. Scandal, gonna be taking up our Invoker, going towards the mid lane. Vanscore will be on our Treant Protector, and Razor is going to be handled by Mag. So odds are, it's going to be Mag playing in the kind of a similar role he played last game when he was playing on the Doom. And last game, the Doom pickup was unbelievable. I know that it's one of Empire's really popular pocket picks. We've seen the Doom Silencer is a combo they like to run. I know we saw the Silencer banned in Game 1 as well, so I'm sure Speed Gaming were thinking of that. Because actually, if I think about this right, I know that this is actually a second matchup for these teams in like 2 or 3 days. And I'm pretty sure that the Doom Silencer combo was what Empire used against Speed Gaming.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I hadn't kept up with that particular result, so it very well could be, because I know you said Doom Silencer did get picked up. It was a Mechanism Doom, and I can't recall which team that you were discussing. I could have sworn it was out of Star Ladder that you had kind of sent it over to me when we had that discussion. But you are always welcome on this stream, and Prove has appeared. So we will indeed have a first-person camera other than sitting in mid. Really good timing.
Oh, that's
so it looks like
right.
everyone's.
I was like, I don't have the camera. I was kind of concerned there for a moment.
You have to. Yeah.
Right. I'm streaming.
Please, God, please, Barry, camera.
Sits mid, watching Scandal for 45 minutes. Like, guys, I want to watch somebody play other than Scandal. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, you get to actually cast this one with Prove on camera. I'm not gonna take that away. I'm just happy you're here, Barry. I always like having you around. It just works out that the days that I have off, like Prove happens to have off, and then the days that I'm not here, you and Prove tend to cast. So Prove is just, I don't know, she's kind of a staple. She's gotta
she's there.
Figure out. She's gotta figure out these power outages.
There's always the the We Love Prove that shows up in the chat, and frankly, I mean, You gotta love me and Ever just as much, equally as much as Prove, you know, because
You gotta
we're
unmute
special
yourself
people as well.
in game. By the
Oh,
way.
that's right. I turned it off. Game 1. Whoops.
Yeah, tried to tell you earlier. Oh well. Just don't listen to me. Ever.
Well, I don't want to
There.
alt tab because you know it takes
Yeah,
away from
I was like,
quality.
please don't alt tab either and drop FPS. I was just gonna say.
Well, I don't drop frames when I alt tab. That's a for sure. But I know that it drops sound when I
30
alt tab
seconds
because
to battle.
I only have one monitor for one source of audio. So, yes. Anyways.
Yeah, Prove is kind of still sitting in mid in game, so hopefully it didn't drop again. Reconnected, disconnected, reconnected. I don't know what's gonna happen here.
Yeah, I don't know what the server issue has been all day today. I mean, there's so much going on if you think about it. Like in terms of tournaments, there's like 4 or 5 really popular high viewer tournaments going on right now, and it must get difficult when Dota reaches a 520,000 peak of players today. But mid lane, Mag already taking quite a bit of harassment damage from Aoi 2000. Definitely not helping Invoker's really slow movement speed to begin with there, but our bottom lane is actually going to beat Jackson in our solo offlane versus the tri lane of Always Want to Fly, Luna, as well as the Rubik. And we're in our top lane. It's going to be Vanscore on our Treant Protector, with Invoker up here as well, it would appear, and Scandal's actually going to be heading towards the mid lane with that Razor. Let's swap that up, I think.
Yeah, like I said, Scandal normally will play over the mid lane. It just so happened that the lanes worked out otherwise, and I didn't expect a Doom to do as well as he did in mid last game. So Mag really showing some versatility for the team, and I figured the Invoker would be played by him because he seems to take up a lot of these niche picks, has a large hero repertoire that he is indeed capable of playing. So it's going to be a farm Invoker. See exactly how that pays out right now. Grave Chill getting applied, taking out that living armor, and Mag forced to use a lot of regen early on. Scandal should handily try and force Sing Sing to take out this lane. 3 for 3 against a Troll who is only 1 for 1 now, 2 for 1. So it's going to be very back and forth. We'll see exactly how much damage they can deal because Scandal is not tanky early on, and those axes can still do a lot in spite of the damage getting stolen. So if we see a man up from Sing Sing, potentially could snuff him out if he's low HP moving in.
It's pretty interesting that teams have actually gone with dual lanes, and Rubik is actually hanging out in the mid lane right now. Pilot Eye is pulling the lane for Sing Sing now, or I'm just stacking and preparing to pull anyways, but it's kind of a vision of the future. This is what people had predicted that 6.79 was going to turn into, you know, more dual lanes and less tri-lanes. But dual lanes are definitely still pretty strong. I mean, Empire do have the Treant Protector to help out in lanes, but First Blood does go down to Weaver in the bottom lane there, but he did make the trade on the Luna. 1 for 1.
Now mid lane right now, Scandal getting caught out. The rotation over from Pylai Dai is going to allow a secondary kill, and Razor goes down. Sing Sing taking his first advantage of the lane. A lot of quick action there. And what I was going to say to your point is that I think it's a natural evolution to see some of the supports move over into the jungle. They're already not really getting any experience lingering around the bottom lane. They can't afford to take it away from a carry, and therefore the progression seems to be that they just kind of move over to that easy camp in jungle where they can at least garner some sort of advantage. Wards are almost a must for the opposing team coming down into the jungle, and if you don't get a counter ward, you always have the option of participating elsewhere. Sing Sing in a little bit of trouble. Now, a lot of damage leached up. Scandal gonna have a bunch of damage here, only take him down to half with 3 right clicks and still not able to do anything. They traded half HP aside there. And no kills forthcoming. Sing Sing again with those axes connects to Scandal on the very tip of that actual unit count and is able to draw him down to about a 4th health. Really solid play out of Sing Sing. He knows his troll play well, as Nahaz mentioned, 10 for 5 on competitive match.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's one of his more prominent mids, as you had mentioned there. But Bone 7 in the top lane doing really well. Actually leading our last hit charts right now on Nature's Prophet, which isn't something that we usually see all that early. Usually we see Nature's Prophets either forced out of the jungle, where they find a mediocre amount of farm. But touching on the point that you mentioned where, you know, supports usually end up in the jungle, I mean, you can really only pull till around level 3. And then at that point, you're going to have to move out, you're going to have to buy your smoke, and you're going to have to make kills happen. Because you can't have a perfect world in every game where every single one of your lanes goes well. I mean, there's always going to be a lane that's going to need support rotation. And in this case, it's probably going to be this top lane here. Invoker is really not doing all that well. 11 for 2. And Treant Protector, Vanscore only being level 2. although Tramp Protector, yeah, he's got the living armor, he needs the levels to make it more effective, especially once we get to around 10, 12 minutes. He needs it to be at least level 2. Oh, Cold Snap does fly on Bone 7. Just a little bit of harassment there to force him back.
They're going to have a go on Jackson here. Bot lane, getting telekinesis back. Shukuchi will expire. Will EE be able to find it? Living armor applied. Bane here to support, and a really poorly timed pause. I was about to say a BM pause because there's a lot of action about to come out of bottom lane. To your point on that top side, Invoker not doing well. He's not able to zone a Nature's Prophet, and as a result, this NP could potentially be huge in a hurry. He even could go so far as to show up on the spot lane. I believe Cold Snap on cooldown. Yeah, 6 more seconds. He could freely just walk into this fight if he wants to get this kill on Bane. Only level 2, no mana left to his name, so no further advantage going to come out of him. And I don't know if Jackson has quite the damage he thinks he has to turn this, so I imagine Bane is just going to get taken out. You also see Owie is rotated right up here for that Grave Chill against Scandal, who's half health. We're going to have a lot of action once this pause expires.
Well, I mean, you've got Pylai who's made rotations to mid lane, and now he's down in this bottom lane. And when they've made a support, when they've put him in the jungle, and he's already been successful in 1 kill, he's already level 3, which is going to pair him pretty much on the level of a lot of the Empire support. So there's always that thing in the back of your mind. You always got to be thinking, where is this Rubik? And with the pause coming off, they've got the Nightmare down on Sing Sing. Instead, it's going to transfer over to Pylai, but is there going to be enough damage? Fantastic Micro from Always Want to Fly. Going to block Pylai in, but can they make the trade? Luna comes out with the Lucent Beam to claim the trade on Bane. 1 for 1, once again down in this bottom lane, but the advantage does go to Empire as Luna picks up that kill.
And now mid lane, Scandal getting caught out. Prophet rotating over, finally takes off that armor. Scandal dealing a lot to Bone 7. Bone 7 should live and actually dies on the back end. The Nova coming in, huge right-click damage out of Scandal, secures a kill before he goes down, which is pivotal in terms of that experience marker. So Scandal, while dying a second time, is able to take someone with him and at least save some face in terms of that experience graph, stifle the gold loss and the bleeding a bit. So instead of going on that bottom lane where it was a sure kill on the Bane Elemental, we see Bone 7 transfer into the mid lane and as a result die coincidentally.
Game of trades. So far, that's pretty much the story of this game of trades, where somebody goes in. At least the trades are dropping either a support or a Nature's Prophet for allowing a kill on somebody like Sing or Luna, and those trades are gonna be what Speed is gonna be looking for. I mean, especially how well Sing is doing in this mid lane. 21 for 12. He's pushing out Scandal. Scandal not doing as well as he usually does on the Bat Rider. I was waiting to see when somebody was going to move to ban Scandal's Bat, because that is 3 straight games in this tournament that Bat Runner has been given to Scandal that he takes and wins the game, and somebody had to do it eventually, because you just cannot give Scandal this Bat Rider.
You know, it's not even so much that you can't give Scandal Bat Rider. He is a solid Bat player, but Bat Rider in general getting through is almost unacceptable at this stage unless you know that there's going to be an OD pickup. I think an OD for either side would be fine, but maybe they just don't have the players comfortable enough to play the hero. And as a result of these dual lanes and no extremely powerful picks, we're seeing a lot of farm be handed out. It allows a lot of these versatile trade situations. Again, the only thing I don't like is the fact that Bone 7 is allowed to take so much farm out of this lane when normally Prophets are forced into the jungle. They go a lot slower than... I don't want to be rude and say any other hero, but it's kind of any other hero, and it's my favorite hero nonetheless. It provides a lot of push potential, global presence, ganking. There's so many things that the hero does correctly, and he's actually not really nerfed so much in the new patch. His Ents give more gold, but they're still extremely tanky to take down. And speaking of the patch too, I'm surprised ODE isn't getting picked up more prior to his incoming nerf with items not triggering essence, a lot of different things.
You just want to have memories, lingering memories of Outworld Destroyer. You know, once he's gone, people aren't going to pick him up as much anymore. And frankly, I think it's one of those nerfs I think people are going to take too seriously as soon as the patch comes out. Kind of like the Lone Druid thing, where people didn't pick him up for weeks after they nerfed the armlet, and then all of a sudden he came right back in. People realized that the change wasn't so bad. And I mean, you can still get the Essence Orb procs from the Astral Imprisonment, and you're going to be spamming them out just as often. So frankly, he's still going to be a strong mid for denying a lot of the popular intelligence heroes, or in general, ability spamming heroes, but I don't think you'll be seeing the same builds on him. Now, what interests me about Bone 7 in this top lane is he's had a decent amount of farm. He's already got his phase boost and a Ring of Basilius. He's actually not decided to go with the Hand of Midas. He would have had it by now. He would have had it probably about a minute and a half ago. It surprises me that with all this farm, that's not what he picked up.
You know, I really going to say just Bone is going for a very gank-oriented build. They have a responsive team, and they can get a lot done in a short span of time with Battle Trance from Troll. The moment he shows up, there's going to be a lot of damage coming out from him, and therefore the phase boots play into that right click. And I know we can't stop talking about the patch coming up. It's really just going to be an exciting reshaping of the game. I don't think anything has damaged the game at all in the patch. Were some things unnecessary? Sure, but maybe they're just seeing a natural progression that a lot of others are not. In fact, I don't imagine things like that Brood walk over absolutely everything, including cliffs, just because she has a web is going to stand. But who knows? The Chinese will be able to pilot that further, as it was a favorite in just offlane pushing, grabbing a lot of farm in multiple places, similar to what PL does, and we'll see if it can attain that level of farm. But my big issue with Brood is that those spiderlings, when farmed out, give so much away in money, and maybe that's what they were going for in that Nature's Prophet transition. Gank now coming down mid lane. We'll see if it's able to go off, and Scandal senses something coming. Nighttime also going to get shortened up. That was probably the most exciting thing for me to see, because it's really frustrating fighting in Fog of War.
Down in the bottom lane, a little bit of engagement. They're looking for a kill on Sing. Jackson diving beyond the tier 1, back into the Radiant jungle as Sing, making these plays all around the side there, and he does go down, excuse me, not Sing, EE. But Bone 7 come down to the bottom lane, drops the Sprout a little bit too far to the right of Jackson, as he will back out, and there actually won't be a trade this time. Luna will go down, and both Bane and Weaver will escape, but Weaver, now with living armor, deciding maybe I'll go in on Bone 7, but having no knowledge of where he is actually in this tree line, he'll back out of that here. Is Sing Sing gonna
Highlight Eye top lane, gonna grab Mag with that telekinesis. Both supports throwing down the damage as quickly as possible. Mag trying to invoke and armor, in turn gonna save him from that soul assumption, and a near kill opportunity between two supports to get Speed Gaming some advantage, as we've evened out here, but more advantage seeming to be on the Empire in key heroes, or core heroes if you will.
Oh, working towards our gold graph right now. Not that it means that much, but it has started to dip.
Actually, Jackson gonna get taken down by the tower almost, narrowly, 9 HP.
Yeah, he's getting actually pretty gutsy here. He keeps using Shikuchi there and baiting out just one tower hit that he always relies that his Shikuchi is gonna, you know, prevent from coming in.
He didn't even Shikuchi that particular one. Funny enough, he actually just kind of walked over and was lucky that it only registered for 9 less than his total health pool. There was no way you could run math quick enough in your head on that, as he ate 2 tower shots with Shikuchi on cool.
You just cross your fingers and you hope you don't die. It's probably the best you can do in that situation. Now, I'm really concerned for Mag in this top lane right now, because usually what you need on an Invoker is farm. That's what he's for. He's farm and levels, because if he doesn't have levels, he's not going to have the damage from Exort. He's not going to have the level 2 Forge Spirits, because inherently that's what he's going to be looking to build, especially now that he's picked up Midas. 9 minutes, not that late, but it's going to start pushing him towards a little bit of the levels that he's lost from not really doing all that well in this top lane here. Hand of Midas, actually. I actually never built a Hand of Midas on my Invoker whenever I play it. I know some people do. Maybe it's because of how easy mid lane is in pubs. I'm assuming it's a lot different in competitive games. Down in bottom lane, there is the action on Always Want to Fly. They do find the kill there with the Visage as well as Pilot Eye, and most of Speed Gaming. And 4 come down. Nature's Prophet is here as well. Not really that Bone 7 needs any extra gold at this point, but he'll claim a little bit up there for himself, as Jackson hanging out right next to the side shop. Not really wanting to participate in any of this right now.
You know, Invoker hasn't been able to grab much advantage. Goes Midas, recognizing they have the opportunity to take this game late if they so elect to do. Bone 7's going to get even better. I think it's fairly even, as Luna is able to pick off Weaver. Yet again, just trading blow for blow. I don't think this Weaver recognizes how much burst potential that EE can dish right back into his face, and EE is doing a really good job recognizing he needs to go back, throws up a Lucent Beam, grabs a creep, and now off to the well to regen. Sing Sing still leading the game, 4.6k net worth against a Razor who's not even really registering in the same category. 2.7k last hits are not even by any stretch. 45-8 against his 70-19. So Sing Sing doing a great job against Razor on a lane that I don't want to say he should lose, but should be a little more even than I feel like we're seeing. Scandal possibly underestimating the axis and Sing Sing knowing how to boost it out. Now engagement top lane. Bane kind of getting caught out. Ultimate was popped up from Troll to see if they could get any more right clicks, and it looks like nothing will come of it.
That's hilarious. Watching the fact that familiars can actually transfer Nightmare and keep moving with it, it looks absurd. But anyways, that kill on Weaver down in the bottom lane, there must not have been too much communication on that, especially that Vanscore didn't use the living armor on him. Either he was so confident that he could pick that kill up, or he forgot to tell his team that he was going to dive a tower. And, you know, giving EE these free kills on this bottom lane like that is really not that much of a good idea, especially that EE, yeah, he's picked up a bottle, he's picked up face boost, but he hasn't made any indication of what he's going for next. So he could look to just build straight into a bigger item, or he could
I think it's going to be drums. Yeah, shadowing that bracer. At least pick up the bracer for the additional health. Speaking of items, pickup of Medallion on top of Visage. So Owie able to kind of tank through with the Bone 7 Ents. They could potentially strike an early Roshan at any point now that they decide to show up to the pit. Currently warded, but not for much longer. Less than a minute on this ward as it goes to expire. We'll see how Empire chooses to respond if they make their way over into the Roche pit. It's going to be a hard fight between the Luna ultimate, Nature's Prophet ultimate adding on to that damage, and then the Ents will mean none of them are taking damage, so they will be in a solid position to fight. You have familiars to scout things out. There's a lot of the correct things from the speed gaming lineup and draft that I like. And now it looks like EE might get a little bit of harassment from Jackson, but instead just kind of going back into lane rotation, coming out of the sports. Sing Sing wants a kill. They want to lock him down. Already Jackson, you see he's backing off, and the rotation will not yield a kill.
Well, they're coming down to this bottom lane. They're going to force the movement out of Invoker here. They realize that Empire is sitting at a pretty big 4 versus 5 disadvantage. The fact that they've picked up Invoker as well as picking up a Hand of Midas on him. He's not going to be able to do all that much for at least level 11, or at least until he can get level 4 Quas for the 2 Forged Spears to do that extra negative armor damage, considering that he's gone with the QE build. So with the rotation down to this bottom lane, they've gotten what they've wanted out of it. They've made Empire rotate down here to respond out of it, and they have, I would say, Speed Gaming go into this with an advantage, especially the fact that they're going to have the Troll Warlord ultimate here. But Twilight Eye in the top lane taking quite a bit of damage here from Mag. Mag comes in with the Cold Snap as Twilight Eye trying to make movements up here to juke out for TP. Already using Cold Snap. Mag not going to be able to push him out or find a kill there, unfortunately.
I think he thought he just had a little bit better, you know, a little bit better positioning, if you will, on the right clicks to possibly lock it up. Mid tower under a lot of pressure. Fortification has been expent. Familiar is doing a lot of siege damage, and Sing Sing and company going to take this down. Owie taking the final hit. No denial able to happen there. Scandal was waiting around that tree line, not able to do anything. It's going to see exactly what Invoker went for with all of this additional money. Saw the initial staff on him, and it will turn into a 4-staff. No Ags. Courier Snipe coming out of Bone 7. Bone 7 in a lot of trouble. Misses the Courier Snipe narrowly. Needs to get out. Theme's Grip immediately up from Fly. Mag porting back and securing the kill into what turned out to be a very poor situation there for Bone 7. What looked like to be a sure thing.
Down in the bottom lane. Bit of pushing, still EE as well as Twilight Eye and Owie are still down here in this bottom lane to try and push this out, but with that 4-staff now on Invoker as well as the level 2 Forge Spears, he can probably look to contribute to quite a few of these team fights now. But Speed Gaming, they're not down for that. They just want to push the towers. They know they've got the Troll, they've got the early game advantage, especially how well Sing did in the mid lane. Scandal as well coming in. Oh yeah, up that? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, just trying to make the last second adjustment.
Twilight takes quite a bit of damage there as well. Jackson coming back in, but the Sprout lands on Always Want to Fly. Can they put enough damage to bring him down? Instead, he will pop his wand with 15 charges, bringing him back up to a reliable amount of health here, but right away, popping his ultimate and burning down Scandal right away. Unfortunately here, Speed Gaming making a look at trade, turn this around, but Van scored good use of the overgrowth there. Actually, perfect timing on getting that level 6 here as Mag. You're showing up a little bit too late, my friend.
Vanscore escapes by the skin of his teeth, under 100 HP, no cooldowns left in the tank, and that overgrowth was exactly what they needed. Lucent Beam, not enough to take him down. And EE just moves back into a position to farm. Only gets better. Like you mentioned early game, not a giant threat, but certainly one they need to look out for. And Mag actually going to strike at this Roshan. They have the vision to see if anyone comes off this Radiant side, and they're going to take an early just the Forge Spirits. And although Mag doesn't provide, I would say, as much utility as someone like a Troll or even this Luna into a team fight, he's doing his fair share. Familiars coming to potentially snipe out this Aegis. And now if they down it in time, these Familiars will indeed, barely miss it by 1 second coming up, not able to snipe, just improperly timed, I don't know if I want to say, or lucky to Team Empire.
Luck, a little bit
very
luck.
Subjective there.
Either way, that is going to give him the Aegis here on the Weaver. They can definitely look to start a team fight now as well, especially with Vanscore's Overgrowth coming just off of cooldown a few seconds ago here. Especially Living Armor now off of cooldown as well. Meanwhile, Bone 7 doing what Nature's Prophet does best, starting the split push, and Sing actually opting to go with a Shadow Blade build here on the Troll Warlord. Can't fault him for that. Really, really good build for Alpha, especially on a lot of these squishier Empire heroes. Looking at Weaver, looking at Invoker, as well as the Bane, who are going to be very susceptible to a Sing Sing Alpha Strike. If he comes out with the melee whirling axes, he can put out a lot of damage, but Pila Die gonna get spotted out here by I Always Want to Fly, sitting with the haste, the Invis Rune. He's got the Fiend's Grip as well. Yep. With Jackson coming in here as well, Sunstrike following it up. Super easy to secure that there, and Bane picks up the kill as they are going to make the movement here. Is EE getting really risky, sticking his neck out a little bit there.
Sing Sing right on top of Mag, actually going to be able to take him down quickly here. Force steps himself forward, but Soul Assumption is enough to secure the kill, and the Forge Spirits are even going to get knocked off here. Pinging out is Ent. Does he want to have a go? They spot him with 2 Obs Wards conveniently placed over in the jungle. Bone 7 trying to decide what the best course of action is. They won't catch him out before the port actually comes through. Obs Ward possibly spotting that out, but there was this little tree blockage on the site, you'd have to imagine. And now push forthcoming from Speed Gaming, who have taken control of this game off of what seems like the draft alone. Not able to be as responsive they would like as Empire. This Invoker pick not really playing through. Jackson in a world of hurt if he gets caught out here, but instead Shikuchi's right over, and Speed Gaming doesn't want to fight and elects to back off.
Right away, good on them. I mean, Empire, if they would have went into a fight there, they would have been pushing their luck, I think. I mean, with the Troll Warlord, especially now that Sing has his Shadow Blade, they're going to sit for about 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes, where unless Empire makes a move, Speed are going to sit with a pretty hefty advantage, especially now that our gold graph has climbed up to a 4,000 lead for Speed, and our experience graph, although in favor of Empire, really not mattering too much, as it's only about 1,200 there, so not going to make too much of a difference here. But Scandal has finished up his drums a few minutes ago. Going to provide them with a little bit here as Empire move towards this middle lane, looking to knock down this tier 1 with these Forge Spirits, and Speed Gaming can look to do it. Sing Sing coming in with the Shadow Blade. He's got a Haste Rune as well. Trying to scout people out. They've got a little bit of vision. They can see Jackson as well as Mag and Scandal. Whether or not they're going to make anything of it, we'll have to see here, as well as Pili Die. He's got a smoke in hand as well as a steal, able to pick up Shikuchi off of Weaver there as well, for if he wants to achieve himself some better positioning. But Invoker is sitting on his movement tools. He's got his Blink Dagger, he's got his Force Staff. We're going to have to see what Mag is going to do with that here. I mean, he's already got 1 level in Wex, so he's got every single spell under his belt that he's going to need. The only thing hindering him here is going to be the cooldown on Invoke, which is what the Hand of Midas is going to help him for. Get the 17 as fast as possible, reduce the cooldown and Invoke so you can
smoke rotation coming out of the jungle real quick. Ed actually picks up a gem, but it's not going to be in time to spot this one out. Mag immediately eliminated. Scandal trying to steal damage from Sing Sing, who's axing right through the Forge Spirits. Jackson in trouble. Soul Assumption applied to him, forced the time lapse out. He doesn't have much in the way of mana, but enough to deal damage. As it looks like Pili Die goes down. Sing Sing in trouble, will go down as well. Tries to walk into the Razor to negate some of the damage while invis, but the gem on the tree looks to have moved over. I'm not exactly sure where it's ended up. Just let's take a look at some of these heroes. Has it just stayed in the shop? Yeah, it's still on the courier, so haven't had a chance to port it over. Weren't able to right click him, but the AoE thankfully was enough. Bone 7 forced to move off of this mid engagement. Now in a lot of trouble. Scandal getting telekinesis right back. Huge sprout out of Bone 7, and the damage will be almost enough to take him down, but the port ticks prior to the damage. And they will not be able to get a kill. Bane still in trouble. Living armor applied. Trying to see if they can keep him alive. Telekinesis coming right back up. Throw him up in the air. Mag trying to lay down an ice wall. Huge brain sap. True damage comes on through, but not enough to keep him alive. The ice wall will stave off any further aggression from the Speed Gaming squad.
You know, the Turret Protector is probably the scarier thing right now for Speed Gaming, because if you're able to execute or Advanced Score lands a good overgrowth like we saw in the jungle, unfortunately Sing's not going to be able to do anything. He's not going to be able to go anywhere. Yeah, he can switch to ranged, but there are a lot of heroes in Empire who are really not going to care about a ranged Troll Warlord. He gets scary when he switches to melee and he gets the RNG bash and then he punches your face, and that's when it starts to hurt the most. And there's actually quite a bit of CC on Empire that can really control Sing well. You've got the Cold Snap on Mag, that if you can keep the damage up there, it's going to be very hard for Sing to execute, as well as we had just mentioned the overgrowth as well. So Sing is probably going to need to pick up his BKB very shortly if he wants this late game to go well for him here.
You know, for Speed Gaming, they can take any of these fights they want to. The only thing they have to be careful of is the overgrowth, as you've mentioned. Aegis reclaimed in 30 seconds. Potentially another good position for Speed if they can manage a Roshan this time, not having to worry about familiars sniping it or not sniping it. EE, not really in a spot of trouble, but may yet spot out Jackson, who's a little out of position. Gonna try and get some damage and steal the farm right over. Actually ends up helming one of the ogre creeps and trying to move it away to save the farm and obtain some of the frost armor potentially there. And nothing will transpire.
He's just sitting there farming. Pretty much what a Luna can do. He's picked up the helm. He can stack at his own whim if he wants to continue to stack his ancient camp, although it has already been warded out, so that is not going to be an option. Invoker actually picking up Arcane Boots. He's the carrier of this gem as well, but Arcanes is actually a pretty surprising choice for an Invoker. Usually you see the Phase Boots or even the Tranquils, if you will, just for the movement speed to allow better positioning, because usually you want to stay just outside of the fight, landing abilities like the Tornado as well, or comboing that with, you know, Deafening Blast into the Meteor, things like that. But the moment Invoker gets into a fight, when you get into Invoker's comfort zone, it's really, really hard for him to position abilities properly. And he's actually pretty squishy, so he'll go down pretty fast. But BKB already finished up on Jackson here. This game sits pretty even, honestly, Ever. There really isn't a deciding advantage for either team right now.
Both teams have realistically the same amount of cores as one another. You have Invoker, who's a soft core. Then you have, I guess, Nature's Prophet, who you can consider a soft core that does a lot of rat Dota stuff that you don't want to see at the end of a game. And coupled with EE, I don't think it'll even come down to that. I just think that Razor and Weaver aren't bad to fall back on, but how do they match up in perspective against a Troll, a Luna, and Nature's Prophet all right-clicking on through? Luna bouncing glaives are just detrimental to what Empire has to offer in these team fights. Even if Bane gets down a good Fiend's Grip, if it's not against a Luna, he could get eaten so quickly by just that bounce damage alone at the later stages of a game. Empire, needing to be aggressive, actually kind of took advantage of their position and pushed through on mid. Mag actually going to get spotted out here, and that's a gem. They're going to lose it right here. He goes down in the jungle. So even the Forge Spirits get stolen by Rubik, and they're going to be able to defend top lane if they want. No problem.
I think he was.
And the gem's going to go against Weaver.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Yeah. I was going to make the point that, you know, if they want the Luna to be maximum effectiveness, they're going to have to constantly have detection. And hey, a gem doesn't get any better, especially if Empire want to give it to you. If Empire want to come to your side of the river and give you the gem, they can have it. And I mean, he banked way too much on that haste rune, assuming that he was going to be able to turn around and escape. If you're playing a pub game, that's fine. You can make that assumption that they're not going to have the coordination on their stuns. They're not going to be able to burst you fast enough to drop you when you have a haste. But when you're at this level of play, if you run into it, 2 or 3 heroes, even with the haste, you're going to go down. So with that, they did lose the gem here. Scandal actually picking up the mechanism here as well. Back up to 1,500 gold. He's actually doing pretty well for himself now. Up to 7,900 net worth. And our leader on the map is actually Sing Sing at 10k. Picking up a Yasha, as well as 1,300 gold in his pocket. Probably going to be looking towards a Manta for him in the next 6 or 7 minutes. Or maybe even an S&Y if he wants to maintain presence with melee. Not a bad choice, honestly. He could... The maim is going to allow him to chase a little bit better, but then again, he's got the whirling axis for that, so it's really all about preference. We saw EE actually pick up a Mask of Madness on Weaver last game, so you want to talk about preference, that's definitely preference.
Now both sides just trying to attain a bit of farm, seeing if they can spot anyone else out as Empire moves away from the Radiant jungle. 2 wards right on top of one another. I don't know if that was the best course of action, but possibly just seeing if they can pick off this Roshan Forge Spirits, make their way over into the pit to see if they can spot out this future kill. A lot is going to hinge on either team attacking this, and I think it should have been Speed Gaming who took that initial Roche. They would have been in a much more commanding position had they, but instead Empire's just, I guess, hunger to win this game and close out the series led them into the Roche pit that much sooner, and now they took care of business. The new Roshan's going to be interesting with its random respawns, but right now both teams know the timer, and Smoke Up from Speed Gaming actually misses EE. He's going to farm out the mid lane, potentially bait out a situation. Ents spot out that Roshan is not in fact being done by Empire, who's not showing on the map for Speed Gaming, and Bone 7 soft warding with these Ents, trying to explore out where people are. They see Mag over at the secret shop and are trying to pursue. Will they manage to catch him in time as 4 Empire have now grouped up? Sentry on the left side, but not the right. They recognize they're on the hill now. Getting spotted out there was Pilot Eye. Scandal trying to make a move on it, and nothing will come.
They're just waiting for somebody to come up and buy something from the secret shop. Preferably Invoker, looking for that point booster either on this if he's building a Scepter or if he wants to build a BKB. And frankly, he could look to build a BKB, but they move up to the high ground, and right away they're going to spot out E, and E, not hesitant, pops the ultimate there as well. There's quite a bit of damage, but Vanscore, he's looking for the overload, actually only catches Sing, but it's not going to matter. Instead, Stash is stolen by Pilot Die as the Meteor comes right down on top of the ice wall. It could not get any better in terms of a combo, but not going to matter. The damage from Speed is overwhelming from EE as well as Sing, and they are able to clean themselves
2000
up.
Out of his freaking mind right there. Triple stun on the Familiars. Razor didn't do a thing in that fight. Insta buys back into nothing. That was insane, the level he's put out with this Scepter. He's had such a good game, and he's also carrying the gem, and they don't want to focus him because it's not like you're killing anything off in the Familiars. He can still participate, so it's so hard to get that gem off of him. He's had such a monster of a game to make up for not being able to do much on that Enigma in the last game.
Well, frankly, looking at it again, Empire's lineup comes off to me as a little bit greedy. I mean, they don't have that much damage, honestly. A lot of AoE, especially when you've picked up an AoE lockdown ultimate on the Tram Protector, you would expect something along the lines of maybe, you know, Elder Titan or even a Magnus to follow in with that as well. Just something to provide AoE burst damage. The best you've got is the Invoker, and he landed a pretty good Ice Wall into a Meteor that time. I can't fault him for that, but it's still not going to be enough, especially that sooner or later Sting's going to have a BKB, and E's going to pick one up as well, especially that he's at 3,300 gold. BKB's not going to be far off for him, and that's the biggest disadvantage when you look at Invoker. Is yeah, his abilities, probably one of the best CC heroes in the game, but once you pick up the BKB, why do you have to care about him? He's useless. What are you going to do against a BKB hero? You're going to dance around and right-click. Frankly, Invoker doesn't do any right-click at all.
Ancient Stack comes up from Mag, trying to dig his way into this game. Grabs an Ogre Club. We'll see what he turns that into. Over the hill, though, Owie is going to scout this out. A little bit too late for his own good. Ent's already a step ahead of him, spotting out both Bane and Mag, and potentially wanting to still be aggressive as Speed. They've taken a firm hold over the map. Bone 7 actually goes into a Maelstrom build. If he finishes Mjolnir, it's a lot of AoE right clicks to come down, and I like the build in conjunction with Troll. The amount of damage you can do in AoE is probably the best AoE in-game from an item that you can provide. I don't think there's one better, but again, Roshan starts up for Empire already at half health due to the armor debuff. Forge Spirits coming down, still staying on, and Jackson there. They're going to give this away yet again and give Empire a chance to get back in, and he's trying. Will he get an Aegis Snipe this time? Didn't happen, and no, it's too late yet again.
Weave is one to pick it up, and right away, he's stuck inside the pit, popping his BKB as well as his ultimate here as well. Mag taking the damage. He actually goes down first. He is still able to put the Ice Wall down, but nonetheless, EE stuck up in Fiend's Grip, but not enough damage able to come out during the duration as Vanscore pops. Kind of a futile overgrowth as 3 go down as EE cleans house once again, and That was some really sloppy positioning from Speed as well, and they still took that fight.
Yeah, decisive victory is what it is. Off of that positioning, they prove that they can win regardless of Aegis and their 1-by-1 initiation. They have the opportunity now to siege down the tier 3 Empire. Buyback status is a negative. Fortification comes up. Weaver trying to get some stuff done on this wave, but it's still not able to take anything down. Bouncing Glaives helping that. Mag trying to come in, throws down Ice Wall. Jackson getting some damage on EE. EE pops out Manta, but instead will continue to siege, and you could see how quickly they can take down this middle tower. So Empire back up and on the move, trying to chase down Sing 2. Won't be able to get anything off, and instead move into their jungle where they need some presence in order to better control the farm that they're now lacking net worth. 14k with EE in the lead, followed by Jackson standing in on that Weaver for Empire. Goldgraphs showing a little bit of that same story with Speed Gaming in the lead by a firm control of 10,000 experience, 7,500.
Things are definitely starting to look up for Speed Gaming. Their early game, was kind of a balance. It was kind of a toss-up, but they played it quite well in the mid game. They were pretty confident in Eternal Envy, and he has done really well farming this game. And thinking about it, Luna is scary enough when she gets inside your base. As soon as that tower goes down and she can hit those barracks, the Bouncing Glaives go to work. But the amount of damage that there is with maximum attack speed, or borderline maximum, with Sing's Battle Trance as well, I don't even want to think about it, how fast that would push. That would probably be... It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. So, if Empire drop a fight, and Sing and EE are still standing, you might as well call the GG, because they're going to push down your barracks and probably your tier 4s almost instantly.
Yeah, they can easily man mode through a base, no questions asked. If both of those are up, Troll ult, you have to assume, is also up, and they have too many summons. Between the 3 familiars already being able to siege enough on their own, Luna Bouncing Glaives, a base will crumble under that weight. And now, Speed Gaming wants to route out the final tier 2. So we move towards what looks to be dying moments of this game, unless Empire can throw a Hail Mary in a team fight. They're going to try and trade this tier 2 for a tier 1, potentially, but I don't think they have enough time and space. They have to port back now if Speed Gaming continues on the push. They know that mid tower is even lower. Fortification still down from the last engagement, and Weaver trying to slow this down. They just need the creeps to get into the base. Really good awareness there from Jackson to recognize that the backdoor protection was still up for a moment longer if he could delay it, but now Familiar is already sieging as the tier 3 has collapsed. EE trying to get in there. Leech Seed applied to slow him down from ban score, and still Empire unable to take the fight just yet until Speed Gaming fully commits, and instead Speed Gaming backs off. Bone 7 ports away, and they will just walk away with the tier 3.
Jackson needs to get into these fights here. He's still got the Aegis. He's got 2,800 gold. He's good for buyback. Dropping or taking a tier 1, for a tier 3, exposing your barracks, I'm really not too sure that's the appropriate trade. I mean, they have to find the gold somewhere, but if you're going to continue to give the gold, especially to Eternal Envy, the amount of money that they're going to make off of knocking your tier 3 down is going to be far more. Right away, Pilot that comes in with the Shikuchi steal, going to allow them to get a little bit closer to the Scandal, but can they put the damage on EE is the question now before the Fiend Grip ends, and the answer is no. But right away, Mag comes in for the secure kill on Rubik, and right away, Bolt 7, he's not done, he's coming back up here as well. We're going to bring down Scandal, and Scandal explodes at the site of that Soul Assumption. Here's EE actually able to escape just on the edge of his life. Jackson with the BKB and Shikuchi just refusing to drop that Aegis as well. So the trade is going to be 2 for 1, going the way of Speed Gaming, as Aegis is still up on Jackson, and the luckiest Eternal Envy Sama escaped with 100 health on Luna.
Really awkward engagement again for Speed Gaming. They don't necessarily come out down in any way, with Razor taking a fall and Bane. They could even wait for another Roshan if they want to. I don't think they have to, but on the safe side and erring on the side of caution, they may certainly have enough up for buybacks. Already you see EE sitting at 533 GPM, Sing right behind 478, plays such a monster of a troll. You've seen how many times he's caught Mag out and just made his life a living hell this entire game in return for what he did to him on Puck the last game around. So really not having a good time. Scandal had locked him down last time on Puck one too many times for his taste, and he tried to play a very aggressive and dodgy game, but just wasn't able to do so. This time around, he gets to play the beatdown, and Troll loves to fight. At the end of the day, you just want to get in as many fights as you can, just bash lord your way through, and that muscle will allow you to make a lot of things happen. EE finding Forge Spirits from Mag over in the jungle, able to take those out as they are all grouped up now with Bone 7 trailing towards this mid lane. Tier 3 is down, fight forthcoming.
You know, if you're not fighting with Troll, you're doing it wrong, as you mentioned here. And Speed Gaming are just refusing to let up the pressure on Empire here. They realize that Empire have a lot of these heroes who are going to need a decent amount of farm. Razor doesn't do all that much without farm. Yeah, he can steal the damage, but if he's not tanky enough to survive to use it, who cares? He goes down so fast. The amount of damage that AUI 2000 is actually contributing to these fights has blown me away. The amount of contributions he's made is unbelievable. I know you mentioned it in there. We saw that fight over at the Dire Secret Shop, but unbelievable how much damage he's contributing. His positioning is superb, especially on those familiars. Overall, fantastic play.
Patience out of Speed Gaming is very interesting to me. It's extremely patient, but at the same time, Empire's doing a whole lot of nothing. They're sitting on their tier 3s, farming the creep waves that are being forced into their faces, and really good scouting out of Bone 7. This is what you want to do as a Nature's Prophet, is really provide vision of exactly what's going on, more than anything with Ents that aren't going to battle. EE finishes up Butterfly. Hopefully that was the last thing that they were waiting on. He's got 18k net worth, and Bone 7, nearly at 17k, has been MVP-like material in these past 2 games, really creating big plays. Empire smokes up as potentially a last-ditch effort here.
They've got to do
no
something.
wards to spot out. Yeah, they just have to. They're sitting on that tier 3, so we'll see if they're able to find anything on this roam. Roshan is not up for a few minutes longer. They're kind of pinging around the pit. Hopefully they know better on the timer, and probably one of them checked the chat. As a result, EE in the foreground could get grabbed immediately. Bane reveals himself, 4-staff forward, and now they're able to cancel a good move from Rubik there on the telekinesis. EE ripping through the rest of Empire. Empire going down, 3 down immediately. Scandal BKB able to muscle through the rest of EE, but at the cost of his own life. Bone 7 with that troll ultimate, dealing way too much in terms of AoE, and Speed Gaming takes that one handily. Bone actually porting over to see if he can find Jackson, and Empire recognizes it is GG, Barry.
They can't do anything, honestly. I mean, they could sit at their tier 3 all day. The minute they go out, Speed Gaming have been keen on their movement. They're going to move out and hunt you down right away. They've got the troll. If Nature's Prophet finds you, he'll kill you. If Luna finds you, you're dead anyways. There was just way too much damage.
Exactly. Game 3 coming at you guys. Things tied up 1-1. Speed Gaming forces it out of Empire. Lobby loading shortly. Stick around. My name is Ever, joined around by Barry. Prove still in the building. Nahaz on stats. You guys might know him from Sheever's Cast as well as many other places these days. A popular stats man around this scene. Shout out to our sponsors, Big Point and Dad Bet. Coming back to you shortly.